Now, let's talk about the one player rewriting the rules of distance shooting. If you thought Steph Curry had range, just wait until you see what Caitlin Clark is doing. Caitlin Clark's journey didn't just begin with a basketball in her hands, it began with the belief that limits were meant to be shattered. From the moment she touched the hardwood, she was doing things that left fans, coaches, and even opponents shaking their heads in disbelief. Think about it. Most players are dangerous when they step into rhythm, just outside the three-point line, but Clark, she's a threat the second she crosses half court. Defenders don't just have to respect her shot, they have to fear it. Her range has become her signature weapon. It's the kind of weapon that forces entire defenses to warp out of shape. It stretches the floor so far that help defenders can't rotate, and post players suddenly find themselves on an island. Every dribble she takes is a question mark for the defense. Is she about to launch from 28 feet? Or set up a teammate with a dime? And the beauty of Clark's game isn't just that she makes the deep shot look easy, it's that she makes it look inevitable. There's a swagger when she pulls up from the logo, a calmness in her release. She doesn't flinch. She doesn't hesitate. She just rises, fires, and lets the crowd explode. It's a level of confidence that reminds fans of Steph Curry's revolution in the NBA. But here's the truth. Clark isn't copying anyone. She's creating her own revolution, proving that women's basketball can be just as electrifying, just as jaw-dropping, and just as generational as anything we've seen in the men's game. This is the rise of Caitlin Clark, the sniper who turned deep threes into her trademark, and who has already changed the way basketball is played at every level. Before Caitlin Clark ever stepped into the professional spotlight, she was already rewriting history in college. The NCAA became her playground, and every game felt like a masterclass in how to dominate from deep. Fans remember the moment she became the all-time leading scorer in women's college basketball history, a milestone that should have been almost overwhelming. But Caitlin didn't make history with a layup or a free throw. No, she did it her way with a deep, fearless three that sent the arena into absolute chaos. The crowd didn't just cheer, they erupted. It was the perfect symbol of who she is, a player who takes the biggest moments and makes them her own. And it wasn't just that one shot. Time after time, Caitlin Clark delivered highlight reels that left fans gasping. Picture the scene, the game clock winding down, defenders pressing up, the crowd holding its breath, and from 30 feet out, Clark pulls up without hesitation. Swish, the buzzer sounds, the arena explodes. That's not just basketball, that's theater. Her range was more than a weapon, it was psychological warfare. Defenders guarding her would shuffle their feet nervously, knowing that even when they were positioned perfectly, even when they had a hand right in her face, it didn't matter. She had the confidence, the mechanics, and the ice-cold mindset to drain it anyway. But here's what separates her from the rest. Caitlin didn't just hit shots, she owned moments. Whether it was dropping 40 points on a rival school, carrying her team through the NCAA tournament, or silencing entire fan bases with a dagger from the logo, she played with a swagger that was impossible to ignore, and for the millions watching, especially young players at home, she became proof that women's basketball could be spectacular, dramatic, and unmissable every time she stepped onto the court. She wasn't just playing for herself, she was raising the bar for the entire sport. The college years weren't just the start of Caitlin Clark's career, they were the ignition point for a basketball revolution. There's something special about a player who doesn't just score points, but owns the moment. And Caitlin Clark has built her reputation on seizing the spotlight. When the game is at its most tense, think about the pressure of a buzzer. The clock is ticking down, the arena is deafening, the defense is locked in. Most players play it safe. They look for the high percentage shot, the easiest path to the basket. But not Caitlin. For her, those moments are an invitation. From the top of the arc, from just inside half court, even with two defenders closing in, Clark rises up and fires. And when the ball splashes through the net as the buzzer sounds, it's not just another three-pointer, it's a dagger. It's a statement. It's proof that she was built for pressure. Crowds learned quickly, if the ball was in Caitlin Clark's hands in the final seconds, anything was possible. Fans held their breath, opponents prayed for a miss, and yet more often than not, she delivered. Her walk-off moments became legend. There were nights where she would light up the scoreboard for 40 points, and then, just to put the exclamation mark on it, bury one last deep shot to seal the win. Imagine being on the other team fighting for 39 minutes, only to watch Clark pull up from 30 feet and crush every ounce of momentum you had left. That's the kind of heartbreak she specialized in handing out. And here's the thing, her buzzer beaters weren't just about showmanship, they were about control. Caitlin Clark has an unshakable belief in herself. She knows that the last shot belongs to her. She embraces that responsibility, that weight, and turns it into fuel. It's why her highlights don't just replay on sports channels, they spread across social media, becoming viral moments that transcend the game. Every clutch shot, every logo bomb at the horn, became part of the legend she was building. Big stages, bright lights, deafening pressure. For Caitlin Clark, those weren't obstacles. They were invitations to shine. And each buzzer beater she hit added another chapter to the growing story of a player who thrives where others shrink. The leap from college stardom to the professional stage is a test that has humbled countless players. The spotlight gets hotter, the defenders get stronger, the critics get louder, and when Caitlin Clark declared for the WNBA, the conversation shifted from admiration to doubt. Could she really hit those same logo shots against the world's best? Would her fearless style translate when facing veterans who'd seen every trick in the book? The skeptics lined up quickly. Some said she was too flashy. Others argued that her deep shooting would get exposed. The pressure was enormous. But if you know Caitlin Clark, you know doubt doesn't intimidate her. From the moment she stepped onto a WNBA floor, the answer to every critic was loud and undeniable. She didn't just survive against the pros, she thrived. The same deep threes that defined her college career carried over instantly, leaving defenders scrambling and crowds roaring. Picture it, her first games in an Indiana Fever jersey, defenders pressing up near half court, veterans daring her to try it, and then bang. A logo three splashes through, the crowd erupts, and Clark jogs back on defense, with that calm, unbothered swagger. It was her way of saying, I belong here, and I'm not changing for anyone. Her transition wasn't just smooth, it was historic. She immediately became the face of highlight reels, the kind of player whose every shot was replayed, tweeted, and debated. And suddenly, the same voices that doubted her range were the ones asking, are we witnessing the start of something bigger? Caitlin Clark didn't just bring her shooting to the WNBA. She brought her confidence, her vision, and her ability to bend the game around her. In doing so, she proved that the player who broke college records could stand toe-to-toe with the best in the world and still shine just as brightly. Her transition wasn't just a step up, it was a statement. Caitlin Clark isn't here to fit in, she's here to redefine the game. When people talk about Caitlin Clark, the conversation almost always starts with her shooting. And sure, her logo threes deserve every ounce of hype they get. But if you stop there, you miss half the story. Because Clark isn't just a scorer. She's a visionary dot from the very same spots on the floor where she launches jaw-dropping shots. She can just as easily deliver a pass that no one else sees coming. It's one thing to pull up from 28 feet. It's another to fake the shot, freeze the defense, and then fire a laser across the court into the hands of a teammate in perfect scoring position. That's not flash, that's basketball IQ at its highest level. Some of her greatest plays didn't end with her shot, but with her pass. Baseball-style throws from the backcourt that traveled the length of the floor, hitting Aaliyah Boston or Kelsey Mitchell in stride. One-handed darts that zipped past defenders and set up easy layup. Precision dimes, from the logo that looked more like NFL deep passes than traditional basketball assists. And what makes it all so deadly is the unpredictability. Defenders know she can pull up from anywhere. So when she has the ball 30 feet from the rim, they're forced to stretch out, overcommit, and scramble. That's when Clark flips the script, turning her gravity into opportunities for everyone else. It's why coaches call her unguardable. If you play up on her, she'll drive or dish. If you sag back, she'll bury the three in your face. And when she's in rhythm, reading the defense and tossing dimes from the logo, it feels less like a basketball game and more like a master conductor leading an orchestra. Every move, every pass is deliberate. These passes don't just rack up assist. They create momentum-shifting plays that energize her teammates and ignite the crowd. One pinpoint dime, one perfectly timed fast break feed, and suddenly Indiana has all the momentum. Caitlin Clark's passing is proof that her deep range is about more than scoring. It's about control. From way beyond the arc, she dictates the pace, manipulates defenses, and makes her teammates better. That's the mark of a true generational talent. Not just someone who can score, but someone who makes everyone around them unstoppable. Every rookie faces a moment of truth. It's one thing to dominate in college, but the WNBA is filled with champions, veterans, and defensive juggernauts who've spent years perfecting their craft. For most rookies, that transition is humbling. For Caitlin Clark, it was an opportunity to make a statement. From day one, she wasn't just playing in the league, she was taking on its best. The Las Vegas Aces, the reigning champions. The New York Liberty, stacked with all-stars, the Sparks, with their defensive grit and veteran presence. These were the kinds of matchups that should have overwhelmed a first-year player. But instead, they became the stage for Clark's most electrifying performances. Think about her first battles with the Aces. The defending champs tried everything: traps, switches, bodies flying at her the second she crossed half court. And yet, she still found ways to create stepbacks, pull-ups, logo bombs that silenced the crowd. Even when she wasn't scoring, she was orchestrating the offense, feeding teammates in ways that left Vegas scrambling to adjust. Against the Liberty, in front of sold-out arenas, Clark showed she wasn't afraid of the bright lights. New York threw wave after wave of defenders at her, but she responded the only way she knows how, by rising up and draining deep threes in their faces. Every shot felt like a dagger, every possession a reminder that she wasn't backing down. Not from Breena Stewart, not from Sabrina Ionescu, not from anyone. And then there were the Sparks. Their fans packed the arena, chanting, heckling, trying to rattle the rookie. But Clark thrived on the hostility. With 6 seconds left on the shot clock, she stepped back from just inside half court, launched, and buried it. The crowd fell silent. While Clark, toughest defenses in the world. She's not just competing with stars, she's becoming one. By the time her rookie season started, picking up steam. One thing was clear: Caitlin Clark wasn't here to adjust to the WNBA, she was here to challenge it, to force the best in the game to reimagine what defense even means when you're facing someone who can score from anywhere. On the floor, her rookie battles against the league's giants weren't just tests, they were proof that she belonged in the conversation with the very best. Every era of basketball has a player who doesn't just score points, but changes the game. And right now, Caitlin Clark is that player. Her deep threes grab the headlines. But what makes her generational isn't just her range, it's the way she's shifting the entire culture of basketball. Coaches are rewriting defensive schemes because of her. Fans are packing arenas just to watch her warm up from the logo. Young players are copying her form in driveways and gyms, trying to extend their own range to Clark territory. This is what a revolution looks like. Her presence on the court warps everything around her. Defenses have to guard her 5, sometimes 10 feet beyond where they would guard anyone else. That space opens up lanes for teammates. It creates opportunities that simply don't exist without her gravity. One player, bending the geometry of the game to her will. But being generational isn't just about skills, it's about moments. Caitlin Clark has a knack for creating moments that live forever. The logo bombs in college, the buzzer beater that silenced entire arenas. The rookie threes over all-stars who underestimated her range. These aren't just highlights, they're snapshots in history. And here's the truth. We're only at the beginning. She's still in the early chapters of her career, yet she already owns some of the most iconic plays in recent basketball memory. Imagine what the next 5 years will bring. Imagine the rivalries, the playoff moments, the championships still to come. What makes her generational is that she inspires belief. For her teammates, she's the player who can turn an impossible deficit into a comeback. For her fans, she's proof that women's basketball isn't just evolving, it's exploding onto a bigger stage. And for every young kid watching, she's the example that your range, your confidence, your style doesn't have to fit into a box. Caitlin Clark is not just playing basketball, she's redefining it. And that's why when people talk about generational talent, her name isn't just in the conversation, it's at the very top. And here's the thing. What we've seen so far is only the beginning. If Caitlin Clark is already hitting logo bombs, dropping dimes from 30 feet, and going toe-to-toe with the best players in the world as a rookie, just imagine what's coming next. This isn't a highlight reel that ends here. It's the start of a legacy that's going to define a generation. From college records to WNBA battles, from buzzer beaters to game-changing passes. Caitlin Clark has already proven she's not just a star, she's a movement. But now, it's your turn. We want to hear from you. What's the Caitlin Clark moment that left you speechless? Was it one of her deep college daggers? A rookie three in the face of an all-star? Or maybe one of those impossible logo shots that felt like something out of a video game? Drop your answer in the comments below. We'll be reading them all. And if you're as hyped about Caitlin Clark's future as we are, then do us a favor. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single moment of her journey. Because trust us, when Caitlin Clark pulls up from the logo, you'll want to be watching.